What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel and to another episode of Attack of the Fragrance Clones, where you guys know what I do is with a Star Wars opening crawl, I put two fragrances, one clone and the thing that it is cloning, and I put them against each other and let you know which one's better. If the clone smells very similar to the other one, if it doesn't, if it's worth picking up, what the price range is, seasons, all of that good stuff. And today we're going to be talking about a clone of Xerjoff Naxos, which no, I do not have. I got it from Scentbox, and once I am done with this decant, then I will get the full bottle of it. But right now I have 20 milliliters almost of that, or 10 milliliters, and so I am going to be working through that. I have that on my right hand, and now I'm going to be spraying the clone of Xerjoff Naxos, which is VOUX ELEGANTE, that I have a little bit left on. I've been wearing this a lot lately. And so if you don't know what Xerjoff Naxos is, it was the one fragrance that was compared to Mugler's Pure Havane, Amen Pure Havane, because it's that honey tobacco style fragrance. And in my opinion, it is the best of that entire realm of fragrance because it has this freshness, this deepness, and it's not too polarizing. Like, I think that sometimes Pure Havane can be a little bit polarizing. I do have to let you guys know though, in this style of fragrance, usually women do not like that honey tobacco, Pure Havane. And I'm not saying all women. Some women do. But for the most part, I have found that in that realm of the Mugler Pure Havane, Xerjoff Naxos, usually women are a little bit against it and would rather something else. This is more of a personal enjoyment style fragrance, in my opinion. I know I've heard from a lot of people in a lot of those compliment test channels that they have had the same issue. While the women don't hate it, they just usually prefer something else. So as far as the VOUX ELEGANTE, how does it smell against the Xerjoff Naxos? Well, I can say, compared to the one that I did last week, which was Victorioso Victory, an Invictus Victory cologne that was about 85 to 90% similar, this one is not. I would say it's about 60% similar, where it still has that tobacco in there, and it still has that sweetness, that semi-honey sweetness, but the sweetness in it is not as dense or deep as what you get in the Xerjoff Naxos. You can definitely tell that it's trying to clone it, but if I had to say it was closer to anything, it's kind of a middleman between the Pure Havane and the Xerjoff Naxos with a little bit less of a blend. I still think it's a fantastic fragrance. I did not check the price tag on this, but I think I remember seeing it at one point in time for $49 or $59. With that said, Xerjoff Naxos is usually around $200, depending on what kind of sale that you find it on. If you can find it on the sale that you can get it on Fragrance Buy for like $120, then I would still say that Xerjoff Naxos is the better pickup here. And I did see the bottle for the VOUX ELEGANTE, and it is nice. From what I hear is that the top of it, the cap, is very cheap, but the bottle is really nice. It does look very similar to the Naxos, or the Naxos style bottles, but it has like almost like that Hershey Kiss cap that you get at the Naxos bottles, but it looks like it's a little bit shorter and more of a square on the bottom. I'll put the bottle over here, obviously, or over there. I don't really know. So in the opening, you get more of an aromatic feeling to it. You get a little bit less of that sweetness and a little bit less of the blend from what you get in Naxos. It is also a little bit fresher from what I can feel in this fragrance. It's still overall, I would say it's really good. It's just, I would definitely buy this fragrance. I'm not trying to go against it. It's just, and I thought going into this video that I was going to hype this fragrance out of control. But now that I'm smelling it right next to Naxos, I wanted to save that comparison until I actually did the video. I can say that the Naxos blend is a lot better. But with that said, if you're not smelling Naxos right beside it, this fragrance smells fantastic. It's not exactly Naxos. Again, it's still in that realm of the honey, tobacco, sweetness. It has some of that vanilla in there, a little bit of that spice in the background. This one is a little bit more aromatic forward. There's lavender in here for sure. I haven't actually looked the notes up on this, but you can smell the honey, you can smell the tobacco. The tobacco is a little bit more centric in this. You can tell that they're a little bit more synthetic, which is expected in the style of fragrance. It's not like a horrible blended cologne like something you would get with like Craze or some type of the bad Armafs or All Haramains, which All Haramain and Armaf have some good ones too. But I'm just saying the blend in this is higher caliber for a cologne, but it still smells synthetic. There's a little bit of a powdery texture to it as well. It almost feels like there's like almost like a smell of like Whispers in the Library, how they have that vanilla, but almost like that newspaper or old book smell to it in the background, which is not a bad thing. So overall, I'm not trying to put this fragrance down because, again, coming into this video, I thought I was going to give it like an 8.5. I would say smelling it next to Naxos, if you can get Naxos under 150, I would still pick up Naxos. But with the VOUX ELEGANTE, you definitely get that sweetness in there. I've already worn this 3 or 4 times, and I can tell you that there's that honey, there's that tobacco. The tobacco is more centric. You do get some woods in there, either like a cedar or a sandalwood. And then the aromatics are a little bit more forward, as is, again, that tobacco. You get some spice underneath it. And then as you work your way into the dry down, that sweetness tends to dissipate as you get more of this vanilla coming in. And that is where it gets closer to Naxos, in my opinion. Right now, we're only in the opening. But as you get about 20 to 30 minutes into the fragrance, it goes from about a 60% difference to more of like a 70 to 75% closeness to Naxos. So if you want a take on Naxos, because now that Pure Havana is discontinued, you can hardly find it for a good price. Insurrection 2 Wild is a good Havane clone, but it's also very synthetic, and the blend isn't spectacular like you would expect with Naxos. This one is closer to Naxos, where it has that freshness and deepness, but it's not as deep. And it's a little bit fresher. Again, that tobacco is heavier. You get a little bit more of the aromatics and woods in this. But again, as you work your way into the dry down, that is where it gets as close to Naxos as you really want to get with a cologne that is going to do something its own way. So I'm kind of mumbling through this entire review, but overall, I would say VOUX ELEGANTE is really good. It's not as heavy of a projector as what you would get with Naxos. I would say that this is above average. It's going to come into a moderate scent as you get about an hour and a half to 2 hours into the fragrance. And then it lasted on my skin for about 6.5 to 7 hours. I did spray it on clothes the one day and I got about 10, but on skin, I got about 6.5 to 7 hours. So overall, VOUX ELEGANTE, I would say for a cologne, it's about an 8.0. As far as the smell, it's fantastic. If you like those honey tobacco fragrances that have that a little bit more of an aromatic tone, a little bit different of a vanilla in there, and it's a little bit fresher than what you would get with Naxos, just with a lesser blend. It doesn't feel as luxurious or high-end, but it's still a really good fragrance. Then VOUX ELEGANTE, or VOUX ELEGANTE, is a really nice clone of Naxos by doing its own thing. It's kind of like what lattafa Hamra did for Angel Share, where it's in that same realm. That's the best way to put it. I should have done that in the beginning. This is to Naxos like Hamra is to Angel Share. Hamra doesn't really smell like Angel Share, but it's in that same category. And then as you get further into the fragrance, it gets closer. Whilst doing its own thing, it still doesn't smell like Angel Share. This is the same thing. It's really nice. You have that honey tobacco centric fragrance with those aromatics, the freshness and some woods, a little bit of spice underneath, and then it's just doing its own thing with just a lesser blend. So that is VOUX ELEGANTE. Let me know if you guys have tried this fragrance before. If you have, let me know if you liked it or not. And again, I'll be back with another video, and my next clone is going to be out next week. This is going to be more of a fall and winter fragrance, by the way, and it's going to be something that you're going to want to wear probably in the afternoon into evening. I wouldn't say there really is a time frame for this fragrance, but if I had to and you had to put a gun to my head, I would say probably late afternoon into the evening, but I would wear it all day long. I mean, just wear it whenever you want. As long as it's a cool weather fragrance, you can wear it whenever. But yeah, thank you very much, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back with another one. Peace out.